We did a little shakedown with the BRZ, and that's really important, obviously, to know in current conditions, today's weather, today's track state, just how everything's handling before we start adding on some things. And I've never driven this car before, so it's important for me to get a feel for mechanically, suspension-wise, shock-wise, how it behaves, because when you start adding aerodynamic grip, it's a different element of grip, and the two kind of work together. The two can maybe, or the aero can affect the mechanical. So it's really important to know essentially this mechanical suspension platform of the car, how it behaves before you start adding literal downforce. Well, we have a schedule today for different stages. We're going to add different kinds of downforce, so we're going to adjust the downforce. And so we didn't want to spend too much time working on getting the perfect mechanical setup because we did have a little bit of understeer in the car turning into a corner and then a little bit of oversteer getting out to the exit. So that's not ideal. So we really just try to make 5 minutes to make a sway bar adjustment in the hopes that we can fix that, or at least make the car more predictable and more consistent from turn in to exit before we start adding the aero on. And then we know that any feedback we're getting from aero, if we can fix it mechanically, is aero alone and not something underneath in the mechanical sense happening as well. So we made a little sway bar adjustment on the front, and I went out and drove it again, just in a few minutes really, just conscious that it's not on the schedule, but if we can get it handling better, then it's going to make the rest of the day easier.
Loose. Yeah, the rear would step out and the front started to push a little bit, like it was losing front grip.
We went straight to a bunch of the aero stuff. So we had the front splitter, the end plates on the front, the rear diffuser, and the high efficiency rear wing. It was interesting to see what it did to the car, obviously. Going from no downforce to what looks like all downforce at first is going to change quite a bit. From a testing point of view, it was good. We already had a decent platform with just mechanical grip balance and then that to gauge what the aero changes did. And obviously the cornering speeds changed quite a bit. The grip balance front to rear changed a little bit, probably gained a bit more rear grip than front, which if anything is just really interesting to see, because it might not be what I would have expected from looking at the car, just standing around it, having a look at what was going on to it aero-wise. But that's why we're here, is to test and see what actually happens in reality. As far as cornering speed, yeah, minimum speeds went up a bit. A lot of the Putnam Park corners are what I would call medium to high speed. So when you start adding aero grip to the car, it really changes the lap time. From a driving point of view, my background is racing things like IndyCar with big wings, big downforce, but it's been a while since I've driven those. So I had a few extra laps just to keep building myself up to what happens when you put aero on a car and you start driving it. A car you're already familiar with, but now has much more high-speed cornering speed potential. You just have to keep talking yourself up to it. Every time you go through a corner on a particular lap, you have to ask yourself, well, did the car move around much? Did the front slide? Did the rear slide? Did it feel like it was near its limit? And if it doesn't, then you just have to keep going, which means every lap you come around to that same corner, visually your approach speed looks like it's the limit of the car, but it's got this downforce, and so you just have to keep pushing and pushing until you feel the car moving around again. And so that was fun to do. Definitely gained a lot more speed. Lap time got faster. So now we're going to try another rear wing.
They put their front splitter and end plates on, the rear diffuser and their high efficiency wing. It felt a lot more stable. The back wasn't kicking out as much, and the front had a lot more grip. Like I could probably push it harder. Like it was more confidence inspiring.
Yeah, with the going from no downforce to the downforce, turn 4 at Putnam, it's the first left-hand corner. It's over a crest as you turn in, so regular street cars, even with performance tires, but no downforce, really feel that crest because you're going through a right-hand kink on your approach to 4, and you're turning left over a crest. You're sometimes murmuring on the brakes over that crest. So if you think of the pendulum effect of the body of the car, it's going from one absolute extreme all the way over to the other, and you'll feel that, and the car might snap the rear out on turn-in. When you have downforce, that crest almost doesn't exist because the car has just got much more maintained grip all the way through that corner, and so you just have to keep going faster and faster, even though experience tells you most of the times I come through this corner, I lose the rear at this speed. But now you've got downforce, you just have to keep consciously checking you haven't forgotten you've got downforce, so you need to keep going faster.